You're listening to the joint sermons on the Push Media Podcast Network.
So what do you know about Murphy's Law?
I mean, whatever can go wrong will go wrong.
Yes.
I mean,
Now, is that a person?
the only Murphy I respect was RoboCop.
I don't understand that reference. So if Murphy's a real person and if he's dead, where's his grave? Like, do we dig him up? I am over Murphy's Law. I need to catch a break. We had heart attack. We had this. We had that. Air conditioner goes out. Water heater goes out. Dude, dude,
I,
dude.
I think you're paid. I think all your debts are paid up, dude. At this point, you should probably just win the lottery.
Like, I'm thinking, do I need to wake up from my induced coma? Am I in purgatory? Like, what's going on? Like, it's
Yeah,
nuts.
I know.
I
When you
almost
texted me and you're like, "Yo, my AC just went out," I was like, oh, "Of course it did," because
and
what else would happen?
well, everyone in my house is sick. And the beautiful thing about that is I'm not sick, thank God, literally. But I have to avoid being around people coughing and have respiratory issues. No, they're fine. The doctor said they're not contagious. But my point is,
Yeah,
really, really, now we're all stuck in a house, avoiding each other, I guess, as best you can, not coughing on each other. No one's doing that drastic, but still.
yeah. Just considering the situation that you were in, probably being around sick people is not the greatest thing.
Yeah. Anyway, but there is some good news on the horizon. We have some new music coming from people that
Yes.
I'm excited about, at least on paper. People
Yeah.
from our generation coming out with albums, and to me, so far, they don't sound awful. They don't sound forced or anything.
No.
They sound decent. Even that track from Spice One.
Oh, that was the one that you sent me with, like, CL
Yes.
Smooth of all people, which is
Yes.
crazy because look, Pete Rock did the heavy lifting with CL Smooth, but you know what?
Yeah.
I was blown away. I was like, "Yo, what?" It was the weirdest combination of people, and it just absolutely worked. I instantly added that to my playlist on Pandora. I was just like, "Yeah, I need more of this." I would love to hear a whole album from them. It's crazy.
It,
Primo on the
it-
beat and those 2 just going nuts.
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I've listened to it so many times, but I'm excited. Like, I'm excited for all these albums. There's, what is it, Nas and Premiere. That's an automatic listen because of Premiere.
Yeah,
Shout out to
for sure.
Premiere.
Absolutely. The GOAT.
Nas is literally, to me, 50-50 hit or miss.
Yeah, you know what though? With Primo, I think he's probably gonna be
Sure.
100%. Like, I mean,
I don't think he's whack. I'm
no,
just saying it's not my thing,
right.
but not whack. But even Common, I've heard all of Common's music several
Same,
times, dozens times over. I wouldn't say I'm like the biggest fanboy of Common,
same.
but boy, if this song doesn't have me hype,
Yeah. Well,
it's just something
again,
about it. It's summertime in the park,
yo,
hip hop.
yeah.
That's
Well,
just what it is.
and again, Pete Rock. Like
Yes.
when I heard that combination, I was like, if this would have been like 96, 95, I would have been just like over the moon about it. Now, I'm still hyped to hear it, you know what I mean? But again, I've heard so much Common over my life, and don't get me wrong, I like him, but it's just like kind of got to the point where I was like, okay, but with this again, Pete Rock Common, it'll definitely get at least a couple of rotations in my house just because I want to check it out. I'm not gonna be that dude that's like, oh, all this music sucks, da 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 da, and then when
Yeah.
something good comes out, I just kind of poo poo it. Like, nah, I'm definitely all about like the golden era classic guys getting back together again, and then putting out actually fire music that is
Yes.
just so on point that it really you can hate it if you want to, but when it comes down to it, it's gold.
And I would encourage them, if it only needs to be an EP, make
Do
it an
it.
EP. If
Absolutely.
it's only two singles or one single, fine.
Yeah, and le
Just make
and
whatever.
less is definitely more, you know what I mean? If you got 5 good songs in the can and you don't think you can do anything else, leave it at that. I'm
Or if
totally
that's
fine with
you're
a
like,
quick
you know
listen.
what? That's perfect. Yeah, leave it then. Move
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
I'm
and
totally
along
for that.
yeah, and along the same lines, I was super stoked to see this, that, Thes One looks like he's getting back into making music. He posted, an Instagram reel of him just on the MPC making a beat and rapping at the same time, and it just, like, gave me chills again because it's so good to see that dude back on it and, like, still one of my favorite producers and MCs, and it was just like, "Yes, absolutely. Let's go."
Now that makes me happy.
Yeah.
They're so dope. Their style is so different. People on the stairs. It's I don't know. I just like something that's not the normal cookie cutter.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with the cookie cutter. It's a cookie cutter because it works and people like it and it's nice. But they were so different. I'm really eager to see what he can do solo.
Yeah.
Uh, my thought is he was probably, just grieving.
Well, it
You
wasn't
lo-
even
you-
just that he lost Mike, he lost his dad, around the same
oh,
time I
damn.
lost mine. Yeah, his dad had cancer, and he, like, started selling off most of his studio gear and stuff like that to pay for his cancer treatments, and, yeah, I think his pops passed away, like, a month after mine did, so, like, the fact that he's, getting back to it, like, that's cathartic, it has to be for him.
It has to. And I hope it works. I totally
Yeah.
understand that and get it. I'm excited. But so there's new music. But you know what I was also, and I hate to change the subject on you because that's what I do. We're gonna go to Taylor Swift route here for a second. We all know I'm a fan, whatever. She's on tour in London, playing in Wembley Stadium, which is a massive freaking stadium because those blokes like to play soccer. Yes, I call it soccer because soccer is the original name for it, not football. So they can suck it. And it's going to be July 4th. It's going to be July 4th soon. So they can double suck it. And then we'll go back to being friends on July 5th, I guess. By the way, you ever notice that? How everybody on July 4th is like, America, screw the king, kiss my ass. And then on July 5th, they're, oh no, King Charles is sick. Oh, God bless him. Long live the king. You're like, what? Americans are so stupid.
I mean,
Anyway,
yeah, that's kind of
hey,
like
we're the same. We're
canon.
basically the same country, anyways. You don't
Y
think our two countries and governments are hand in hand on every little thing? Of course they
Oh,
are.
yeah.
Whatever. And let's be honest, you feel good going there. You feel safe and comfortable. You would feel at home. Whatever. Anyway, it's called soccer, you cucks. But she sold out Wembley Stadium, I think, 3 times. I don't think anybody's surprised. I mean,
No.
it's kind of weird how popular. Like it's like when the Beatles says John Lennon said they're more popular than Jesus. I think she might actually be more popular than Jesus right now. I'm not saying people worship her. I'm just saying she may be more popular. But Dave Grohl, who I always understood to be uh, pretty cool, didn't really hate on people and stuff like that, and was really nice to fans. It seemed brings them on stage,
Yeah.
but he makes it. He just goes on stage in London at the same time dissing Taylor Swift, which I just thought that's weird.
Yeah,
But
that seems, like, strange from him, especially with the
yeah,
kinda person he is, but you never know.
but his complaint was that she quote uses backing tracks, which these music reviewers that were at the concert was like, no, actually she doesn't, because you can hear a backing track when you're there. But she's
Sure.
like, everybody's like, no, she doesn't. And we're talking about music people that were there too. We're like, no, she's not using a backing track. She performs for 3.5 hours. Her voice cracks once in a while. She breathes, you hear it. She's not using a backing track. But I didn't understand that. But what bothered me was when he further went on, I don't think it was on stage. She is a woman, right? She is a female. But when you say things like that woman, that female, it's like, I think you're just being a sexist person. And it bothers me. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I have a daughter or something. And if someone said to her, well, that girl did, I'm like, you can
And I
call her
mean,
by her name.
I don't
It's
think you have to have a daughter to,
yeah,
understand
no,
sexism or misogyny, you know what I mean? But yeah,
sure. Well,
that
yeah,
that
we all
that
have
that
mothers,
that
but
that's a weird flex in general just to, like, I don't know, dude. Like, he's got so much money, she's got so much money. When 2 rich people argue, I'm just kinda like, "Ugh, can we
well,
not do
she
this?"
didn't
Like
argue. She never even
right, right.
responded.
But what I'm saying, like, when 2 rich people beef, I'm just like, "This is stupid." Like, you play music, and if he was butthurt about it, it's like, get over it, like, you're
Well, yeah,
fine.
I seen one article that said he tried to book Wembley Stadium for the same dates. And I guess they were going to let him book it, but the she came across says, I like to book Wembley. And they were like, yep, done. Which
Well,
again, if I owned Wembley Stadium, that would be my decision, unless I already booked it. If I already
right.
signed with you, I'd honor it. But if we're still negotiating, I'm like, oh, sorry, Taylor Swift wants it, and she's going to sell out more tickets
Oh, yeah.
and merchandise
Like,
and food and everything
there's no
else.
question. I mean, Foo Fighters
Well,
are huge, but, like, yeah, not Taylor Swift huge in 2024,
no,
like, that's
dude,
just, like, a no-brainer.
I think it's like 85,000 or some ridiculous
Yeah,
number.
it's
Someone said,
huge. Yeah,
and then she had like 30,000 people outside singing along
that's
on
insane. That's just
that.
that's totally crazy, dude. I think over 100,000 people.
And the money they brought in, she brought in
Oh, I'm
just to
sure.
that local area and
I'm
everything.
sure.
Like the NFL said, female viewership went up 54%. And it's almost an even 50-50 split last year of female viewers versus male viewers. Why would the
Yeah.
NFL not hand to her once in a while? Why would they
No.
not mention her? I mean, that's the most excellent marketing. Now, I'm sure a lot of those women, if she, didn't watch football anymore, wouldn't watch, but certainly some of them would.
Yeah. No,
Why
I
not?
mean, listen, I spent 16 years in Pittsburgh. I can attest to the amount of female football fans there are. You know what I mean? Like, trust me,
Well, yeah, they're
those
different
Yinzers
than
got it
us.
in for sure. No, absolutely not.
Yeah, there's nothing beats a lesbian in a Steelers jersey with a carabiner and a pickup
uh,
truck
yep.
parked in the Home Depot parking lot. Shout out to Terry, she knows. But my point is, uh, no, they'll like football. Like if you like football, you like football. But
Yeah,
I'm tired. I'm
exactly.
so tired of the reference of the sexism. It bothered me with. I don't know. To me, it reeks of jealousy. I mean, like I said,
Yeah.
I'm a fan, and I'm like, I don't even care that much.
Yeah. It's just a weird thing to say when you could have said nothing at all, you know.
Well,
And
we also,
I think a lot of people just should shut up sometimes.
not for nothing though, Dave. You're super famous and successful and considered a rock legend. Now let's ask a tough question here. I want to get right down to the nitty gritty, and I said nitty gritty because I'm old.
Well, we
Would
both are.
Dave Grohl have been this famous if his buddy didn't shoot himself in the head?
I mean, it's a good question. Like
I'm
honestly,
dead serious.
no. I agree. Like to me, I always thought Dave Grohl was like the most talented person in Nirvana. Like I don't know. You know what? It's tough for me to really call it because I was not, and I never have been a Nirvana fan. Like I wasn't like super angsty, depressed white teenager. So like that
That's
music,
weird because that's what I picture.
not shut up, fool.
It is.
You are no.
It's
You
what I
already know.
picture.
You already know I was listening to hip hop and strictly hip hop back then.
Dude,
Look, I didn't.
last week when we had lunch, the black eyeliner that you had on tells me that when you were in high school, you were angst ridden.
Yes, the black eyeliner with RAR scrawled across my face. No, listen, dude. Just because I like the Pixies and a couple of other bands like that does not mean I was an angsty one. But no, I mean it's a good question, dude. You know, would have he started Foo Fighters? Would have he been as big as he was if he was in Nirvana? Who knows? You know,
Probably
that's one of
not.
those. I mean, probably you never know though. You know what I mean? Like, because I think it was only like a year after Kurt Cobain, you know,
He shot himself in the head. He killed himself.
let one off with a shotgun. That he put out the Foo Fighters record, and I'm pretty sure that went platinum like instantly. But again,
Well,
that
yes,
could
but
have been all tied
I
to
also
it.
think that was all fondness for Nirvana, and people just wanted Nirvana back. And I'm not
Yeah,
saying he's not talented because I do like their music. It's not. I'm
yeah,
not being. But I asked that. But whatever. It's the truth. Like Paul McCartney was Paul McCartney. They split up,
yeah.
but and he did good with Band on the Run and all
Wings.
that stuff and Wings. But he still wouldn't have been Paul McCartney if John Lennon was walking around.
Yeah, I
Because
don't know. Again,
that guy was the lighthouse of the Beatles, just like Kurt Cobain was. It's just what it is.
yeah,
Some people just have that. They didn't have to be the most talented, but that's just what
yeah.
that is.
They were at the forefront, but man, the Beatles were another band that I'm just like I don't know. I guess it's my like my anti boomer bias, but I couldn't. You know,
But
I
if
think
you listen to Sergeant Pepper's
I have multiple
as a
times.
production guy,
Oh, yeah.
you have to respect that.
Well, so for me, it was always Revolver
Oh
because
yes, Revolver is the best album they have, and
that's the
probably
first time.
top 3 rock albums ever.
So interesting fact about that. That was the first time anybody ever used a tape drum loop because Ringo couldn't hit it. So I can't remember if it was John Lennon or somebody else went in
Yep.
and recorded the drums before Ringo got there, which is hilarious because it's just like a standard rock beat that Ringo couldn't play. And their producer was like, we're going with a tape version. And that was like the first time like they used a tape loop for drums,
Yep.
which, you know,
I
predates
have a book that
sampling
talks
by a
about
long
that.
time. Yeah.
And supposedly, because at one point John Lennon walked around with a video camera, that there's footage of him and George Harrison on a floor of a hotel room with several tape recorders and microphones set up next to speakers, basically sampling.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
love to watch that because sampling wasn't a thing then
No.
or concept to see how they're figuring it out. I would love to see them go, wait a second, go back here, loop that. Wait, re-record. I would love to see that process work out to where it became that album. But
Yeah.
that Revolver's a top 3 rock album of all time. But if you listen to Sergeant Pepper's, you have to respect that because
Yeah.
it's almost on Beastie Boy or People Under the Stairs or Tribe sampling production levels.
I mean, yeah, I've listened to that record multiple times because I smoke weed.
No
And it's
way.
cool, yeah, it's shocking, I know, and I enjoyed it, but like I don't know, like the canonization of the Beatles as being like the architects of rock always kind of bothered me, and I was like, I don't care that much. Like,
You
yeah,
know
they
what though?
have a couple of jams.
I don't go for the anyone's architect of anything. You could probably be first, but okay. How many people are the quote godfather of gangster rap? And
True.
they all have valid claims. Easy E, Ice T, Schoolie D. They all
Yeah,
have valid
Schoolie
claims
D,
to it.
Schoolie
But
D for sure.
well, he was the first, but then Easy E and Ice T took over. So and they made it what it is. So everybody has a claim that's valid and not
Yeah,
accurate. So I don't
yeah,
know. Just make the damn music. You know what I wish we could do? I was thinking this the other day. I wish we can get rid of genres because I read this blog where I heard some songs, some group that no one ever heard of that's not really out yet, and it was rap, but it was kind of jazzy, and there was live instruments, and then the guy was talking about he doesn't know how to label his music, jazz or jazz fusion or hip hop, when he uploads it. I'm
yeah.
like music. I wish we could just go to that. This is music. Do you like it? Listen to it.
Nah, nah, I mean, for me, just coming from a DJ background, you kind of have to know what you're playing. You know what I mean?
Well,
Just
that's
it,
different for that job. But if you're making it, just make what you
yeah.
think sounds good.
I mean,
Don't say I have to make this genre today. Just make what sounds good.
yeah, I mean, and I try not to limit myself to what I'm making, which I actually have got back in the studio and did some sampling and had some fun, which it's been almost 5 months since I've touched anything, and
Well, that's good.
yeah, so and I mean, I was like, I was sampling old like raga drum and bass records from the '90s, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess this is what we're doing now, so.
I
But
tell you, yeah, whatever works, keep doing it because I know uh, we enjoyed it when you did it. So keep doing it. What do you
you know,
think of Julian Assange? He's free.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a weird dichotomy because I was online this morning and it's such a weird crowd that's like hyping him, and it's coming from
Yeah,
both sides of it, and it's just crazy to me because some of the people that are like, "Yeah, Julian Assange is free," are the same people that are like, "Yeah, we should carpet bomb cities," and it's like, but
yeah.
he's in jail because he showed you war crimes, and now you're like, "Yay, he's free," but you're still advocating for the same thing. I don't know. It was weird, and who knows what's going to happen because he's got sentencing, right? He's not free. He
So
cut
he
a
has a
deal with the
hearing. He has
U.S.
a hearing, yeah, but apparently it's a formality at this point. But
Okay,
you know where they did him dirty? Basically, every country in the world banned him from flying commercial. So he had to rent a private plane for the sum of $541,000 that he has to pay.
that's insane.
Well, I can tell
That
you,
is super dirty.
doing research, which means I just got on the internet and searched real quick in my mom's basement. So you can just get a private plane from London to Sydney, Australia, which is where he's going, for
Right.
like 20 grand. Where does the $540,000 come from? That's
Did
just
they
I
did
that's
they
just
make
them trying to insult him.
well, not only that, but I feel like they were probably just like, "Yeah, you have to use this company," and it was some, like, US defense contractor
Oh,
that
it's
they were
a
just like
clearly.
yeah, I mean, there's no way that, like, 500 grand for a
No.
private plane to Australia? Come on.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
that's
no.
ridiculous.
Like I said, I looked it up and I could find one that was like 19,000 something, 20 grand. I'm like, all right, seems
Yeah.
a even if you said 50, okay, I can go for that.
Right, sure.
500, shut up.
I mean, like, at that point, is it like a super bus or something? Like, did he rent, like, the biggest Boeing aircraft at all?
No idea,
what
but even so, 500 grand, it
yeah,
doesn't seem right. But whatever. I'm always on both sides of the fence with him and Snowden. They
yeah,
revealed things that we needed to know and they exposed bad things the governments were doing. Absolutely. Kudos, thank you, everything else. But at the same time, it was illegal and still is illegal to do that. So my point is this: it's like when people protest. Oh no, I got arrested and had to pay a fine or do customer, public service. Okay, but that's the risk versus reward in protesting type of thing.
yeah. Well,
I don't like protesters or whistleblowers. that complain that they got in trouble for it. I know it sounds weird. I don't like crybabies.
Well, if you're a whistleblower for Boeing, they just shoot you in the head.
The
That's crazy.
CEO,
Said
the
that
CEO
with
said
his
that.
whole chest, dude. I was like, yo, they're just like, yeah, we'll kill you if you tell on us. And
That's
he said
lit.
it, dude, he said it in a congressional hearing. Like,
Yes, under oath.
why is that guy walking around? Why is he not in Leavenworth right now,
The
crushing really big
fact
rocks into little tiny rocks? Like,
when they
what is
asked
going
him,
on?
"Will you retaliate against whistleblowers?" Yes, we have.
Yeah,
He's
right.
telling everybody, "Keep talking."
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what he's
Like,
telling everybody.
I
Keep
mean,
talking.
just
It's
straight up
insane.
gangsterism. Like, I couldn't I like when I saw that like headline, I was like, did he really say that? And then I watched the video and
Yeah,
I was like, oh my God, he said that. And like people were just like staring at him. I'm like,
it
why
doesn't
is
make
he
no sense.
yeah, exactly. How many like what is that, like three that's committed
The,
suicide, quote
the,
unquote?
yeah,
Like,
it
come
doesn't make
on.
sense. And you're not
Yeah.
so guilt ready and you kill yourself because you snitched on
No.
Boeing.
Of all things. Like, nah,
No,
come on. Like
absolutely not.
well, and that's wild because again, it's just another thing. Even if they do get found out, like there's hard evidence other than him admitting it. They're just going to pay a fine because corporations
Yes,
just pay fines when they kill people. Like as PG&E in California, like come on,
I hate and despise PG&E.
so much.
First of all, my hatred goes back 25 years when we had brownouts because they were dealing with Enron. I remember so fondly in the summer at work. This is when I delivered mattresses, right? And so those things are heavy. And you deliver mattresses in San Francisco up 3 flights in those Victorian homes. That's work. And
Oh,
then
that's
they're like, oh, they're like brownouts. We're shutting off the power for 4 hours. And you're like, what? And you're like sitting in a warehouse or going in people's homes, climbing up and down, and there's no air on anything. You're sweating to death. Then, 2 years later, whatever comes to find out, they just made it up.
yeah,
They were literally just rolling brownouts that they made up. It wasn't even
yep,
necessary. Then you fast forward to what, 10, 15 years ago, an entire development in the peninsula in the San Francisco Bay Area blows up in Burlingame. An entire development of
yeah,
like 3 blocks of homes just blows up and they pay a fine. And then they're
yep,
burning down Northern California up in Redding
yeah,
and Shasta. Like,
yep.
at what point?
I think they killed like 20 people with the what was it
Yes.
was it the campfire? And I think they
Yes.
only had to pay like $6 million. It's like
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like this is the one time where I'm totally with like China with this. When CEOs mess up, or like even like Korea, they're like, "Nah, you're dying. Like you're not even going to jail. Like you
I
essentially
don't, I don't, I don't need to
facilitated
shoot
murder."
them.
No,
I mean, I know you guys are fond of the wall,
I'll get it.
but, and I'm not opposed to the wall, but come on.
Yeah, like if you can pay a fine, it's not illegal. You know what I mean? Like that's just what it is, especially when it
Can you
comes to
imagine
corporations.
if I shot you in the leg and they're, hey, pay 10 grand. All right, cool.
Exactly. I
Here's
mean,
your,
that's basically what it is.
I'm going to shoot him again as soon as he opens his mouth
Yep.
because I have another $10,000.
Yeah.
That
It,
doesn't,
it
where's the deterrent?
There is none, and that's the thing. That's I just I despise PG&E so much. Like
You know what I
that's
think
why I'm
though?
glad I have SMUD.
I actually believe the status quo, and I don't mean tomorrow, but the status quo is running out of time.
Oh yeah,
There's far too many people on this planet now that are annoyed. And we're not even just talking about poor people or middle class there's people that are just getting annoyed of the games that are outright being played and the whole F you to our faces. And I feel like it's going to pop. All it takes is for one uh, country like the United States or even England, those powerful countries, not France because they really love having revolutions, so they're normal. But a normal country like if Italy or even Germany, one of those countries just popped off and flipped out and revolted, like a true revolt. I don't mean
yeah,
protest, I mean a revolt.
right,
The rest topple because they're not. Everybody else isn't going. You know what? Fine, let's do it
yeah,
because it can't be this way. I mean, like I'll bring back up my hospital bill. I agreed to paying over $2 million. Luckily, I don't have to pay even anything near that. I have to pay $3,100 maximum as an out of pocket maximum due to my insurance, but that's gun to your head.
yeah.
My
Oh yeah,
wife, my wife, of course, was going to agree to that.
yeah. I mean,
How do you do
you
that to
have to.
us?
It's
How,
not. It's not. It's like either pay this or die. Like
yes.
that's like to me. Like we need like single payer. We need universal health care like immediately. Like just the
Well, here's the
fact
thing.
that
What I
like
don't like is I agree, but I don't like when people say, "Oh, it's welfare." You're not getting it for free. You're paying for it.
Right, exactly, and that's the part that always gets down to the
It's like
nuances of each, with
unemployment
some people,
insurance. You
right?
paid for the unemployment insurance. You paid
Right.
into it.
Yeah, it's not, nobody's giving you anything for free. It's like you're paying taxes. Nobody bats an eye when they spend $900 billion on, the latest DoD contracts and stuff. But like, maybe helping somebody who had a horrible heart attack with a $2 million bill is a little bit more doable, and maybe we should think about that.
Or
Like, I
at the
mean,
very least, say there's no charge that's extra than what your insurance covered because your
right.
insurance paid us. Now the hospital's not going to even ask me for $3,100.
No.
So I'll tell you a trick. I just called them and said, "Oh, can I make a payment plan of like $10 a month?" And they waived it. So fine, I just
Yeah.
did that. But my point is, they don't care. I don't need your
No.
3 grand. I got your 2 million. But it's stupid.
Yeah.
But I hate the idea of it's free. It's not free. It's not welfare. It's paid for. And welfare is not awful. It's valid for people that need it. Now,
I,
again, I do believe there are some people that abuse it, but I don't believe the majority do. So you can't do that. But I also believe if you give them welfare, also help them. Like if they need job skills, help them. Give them job skills. That's cheaper. Give them.
yeah.
Plus, they'll feel better. They'll have more self worth and dignity when they earn their own paycheck.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, but unemployment, disability, you pay into that. I don't
right.
feel guilty. I had to use my car insurance when I had damage from a storm. I didn't feel guilty. I paid for that.
No, absolutely not. I mean,
I don't get
same
this whole
thing.
shaming thing.
Well, I mean,
I know.
some people just really get off on looking down at people that are less fortunate than them, and that's just unfortunate in general.
And I'll send it to you off, off there. But I did a whole bunch of research about a year and a half ago, and the cost of healthcare in the United States versus the UK.
Yeah,
Depending on what year you do the math, it's basically the same. One's more expensive one year, one's more expensive 2 years later, but they're basically neck and neck in what costs are, except we pay when we go and they pay out of their taxes.
right. Which I would
I,
much rather just pay out of my taxes and show up
Same, because then
somewhere.
you never have to have a invoice.
Well,
Now I had a friend who had surgery in the UK. I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. I don't know. And I asked him how much was your bill, and it was like $40. Well, 40 pounds, and that was because he paid for movies or something, or got the premium HBO channels or something while in the hospital. Meanwhile, I'm paying $15 for half a 6-ounce can of ginger ale in the hospital.
well, I mean, same thing. Like whenever I was back home, and my entire family ended up getting COVID at the hospital, I went to like the local clinic or whatever, paid my $25 copay. 2 days ago, I get a bill from this clinic for $317 because my insurance wouldn't cover it because I was out of network. It's like, what? I will be calling my insurance company about this because I was like, first of all, it was just for testing, right? Like I already knew I had COVID and they tested for like strep and like the flu or whatever. And it was like, hold on, what am I paying insurance for if I go somewhere because I have to go there and then I get sick and I go to get treatment and they're just going to charge me anyway? Like that, I mean, that you're just scamming me. So why am I paying X amount of dollars every month out of my paycheck for coverage that when I leave my state, it doesn't count? Like, come on,
Well,
come
I
on.
went to urgent care several months ago when I had a cold, and I was like, it's probably COVID. Turns out it wasn't. But they also gave me a COVID/flu test.
Yeah, I
They were
got the same one.
in one test. Now it finds out if you go to CVS, you can get those for like $35. Um, but they charged me $200 for it.
Yeah, that's
I
exactly what mine
I
was.
paid a
Mine was
copay.
196 bucks.
I paid a copay to get in there, which I'm
Same.
fine. Fine, I paid the copay, but then I get a bill for it. Same idea. And I actually called and said, no, I'm not paying that. My insurance actually agreed with me on this, and you shouldn't have to pay for that. But I said, I asked them for detail on the bill, what brand was it, and all that stuff. And then I sent them a screenshot. I'm like, this one that showed it was $35.
Yeah,
Give me a break.
yeah.
You did
It,
nothing else.
it's
I could have stayed home.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. The only reason I went because I was worried about my mom. You know what I mean? My mom is
Well, also, I
significantly
also don't
older.
want COVID.
Well, I did a home test and it like popped immediately. So I was like,
Yeah.
I already know I have
I,
it. And I was going to go see if I could get some kind of therapeutics, but
I
they were
wish
like,
you would
nah,
have
you're
told me
fine.
that, because you're probably still contagious and I should be having a mask right now.
Well, I mean, as long as we don't anymore, we'll probably be fine.
You know what? We're out of time, folks. Uh, we want to give a special shout out. Cue the sad, happy, emotional, whatever type of music, stock music available in your head. give a shout out to Kelly of St. Louis. How's that? Does that work?
I think it works.
He's a fan, I think.
He,
Can we
he's
say fan?
I mean, I would assume so.
I don't know. He's a fan or a stalker. That dude sends me the weirdest private messages on Twitter. Dude. I would
Eh,
forward him to. I would forward him to, but I think that violates the terms of our relationship.
you know what, my friend? The only thing he sends me is new recipes. Shout out to his lobster mac and cheese that looked fire.
First of all, that does sound delicious.
Oh, he's a good cook, man, for sure. He gets busy in the
So
kitchen, no doubt.
why do you get lobster mac and cheese recipes, and I get pictures of chaps?